What it do, flight crew? FTC. Flight team, stand up! You know it's February, because FTC is legendary. Every birth generation explained in 9 minutes. We got some fresh, so clean, educational-ish. Now, if you don't be on a TikTok a lot, this and that, I feel like one of the biggest debates over the past month is this Gen Z, Gen X, Millennials, Zoomers, debates and stuff like that. We have every birth generation explained in 9 minutes. Let's check it out.
Despite taking place over 100 years ago, the Lost Generation has many similarities to today. Growing up as a young man or woman in this time period, you were met with war, a pandemic, harsh economic times, and changing social conditions. World War I was brutal for this generation. More than 70 million people were mobilized, 8.5 million were killed, 21 million were wounded, and 2 million soldiers died of disease. Speaking of disease...
See, this is another reason why if you aren't already, bro, you literally have to be grateful for everything, bro. Like, just imagine you just sitting up there and you born in the middle of 1885 or something like that, bro, and you're just like forced to go into war. There's just no video games. Sports wasn't even invented, bro. Literally, there was nothing to do in life but to literally fight for your own country, fight for your respect, and like protect your family. And like during these times too, most of the people had to go hunting for their food, bro. There wasn't no grocery stores. You know, I'm gonna salute people from the South. You know, I forget my South roots, but there wasn't no grocery stores like Publix. There wasn't no Kroger. There wasn't no Ralph's. If you're on the like West Coast, I don't know if they got Ralph's on like the East Coast, but just you get it. There wasn't no Walmart. There wasn't any corner stores. You couldn't even go to the gas station to get some gas and some damn snacks and some wraps if you need to, if you on that chiefin' type of time. And you know what I'm saying? By the way, it's still so reacts 31 days into the new year. Clap it up! But the point is, bro, like that has to be, I feel like, the most cooked time period you had to have been born in, bro. From like the 1800s to like anything before like 1975, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel completely bad, bro. Like, there was just nothing, like, I wouldn't say nothing to obviously live for, because if you actually think about it, those people really set the stone. You know how that quote goes, you couldn't really do anything without them. What is it? They walked first before they ran, or some ish like that. Bro, the Lost Generation, bro, we have to give them all types of salutes and credits, bro, because even when it comes down to the diseases, bro, you know what I'm saying? Don't they have like an influenza shot that you had to take? You wouldn't even be able to go to school if you didn't take the shot, bro. They had the bubonic plague back in the day, bro. Like, dog, literally, like, just walking outside, bro, was just like a blessing and a curse if you would make it back home safe, you know? So the Lost Generation definitely has to get the amount of flowers, endless flowers, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like if they didn't go through this, bro, this entire like world probably wouldn't even be half of what it is today. Electricity was invented during this time, bro. Like, so much stuff.
The Spanish flu pandemic of 1918 to 1920 was also not merciful, with some reports estimating 17 to 50 million deaths worldwide, and other reports claiming as high as 100 million. After the war and the pandemic, the world experienced economic turmoil, leading to the Great Depression in the 1930s, resulting in high unemployment rates, poverty, and a general sense of hopelessness. Popular culture began to rise in the form of early cinema and magazines. As people searched for a distraction from the bleak life they were presented with, women gained the right to vote in 1920 and new employment opportunities for unmarried women.
And bro, like, even that, like, bro, that is insane to even think about. Like, imagine, like, bro, like the rights that women didn't have back then, just from being a woman. They was excluded with so many rights. They didn't have a right to vote. They couldn't go and serve the country if that's what they wanted to do. There was just so much things. Like, it's just crazy as heck. Like, how there was literally rules, you know what I'm saying, for stuff like that. There was, you know, obviously they didn't probably cover it. They're probably going to cover it somewhere in the video. You know, there was even like the segregation and like the racism and stuff like that was going on, bro. Like, it's crazy also even to think about, like, who sat there and actually decided all those rules? Like, who sat there in the damn office they were in or in their crib or whatever, just thinking about all these unnecessary rules, bro? Like, you got to be an evil person really even think about half of these things. That was
as many women were left widows due to the war. This era saw the rise of a new type of young woman in pop culture known as the flapper, known for being rebellious against previous social norms and featuring a more reckless and party-going attitude. Today, the Lost Generation is remembered for their resilience and being able to survive a harsh and difficult time period.
Wow. So basically what he's also saying is basically that were like this generation like breeded like, how can I say? Because not every woman is bad, and not every woman, you know what I'm saying, gets down like that. But majority, basically, the whores walked so the whores today can run. Is that basically what they saying? That's crazy. I've never heard some of these terms that he was talking about,
Some say it could provide insight into modern or future time periods.
And then it sucks because obviously, like the 1 percentile of like wholesome women, especially throughout this time period and everything, they all get the backlash probably because of like how society is nowadays and everything with the small 1%. That
greatest generation. This generation is also known as the World War II generation.
Wow, so 1901 through 1927 was the greatest generation?
It is remembered for its heroism and technological innovation and prosperity. The youth during this time would grow up with many inventions becoming popular and normalized, like the radio, telephone, and automobile. It was a major time period for culture and entertainment in America. Literature, arts, music, and cinema flourished during this time period. As the golden age of Hollywood began, and gangster films, music films, comedy films, and monster films became extremely popular and gathered massive audiences. It was also the advent of comic books, as huge franchises like Superman and Batman began. In the music industry, jazz, blues, gospel music, folk music, and swing jazz all became large genres. Wow. The rise of the radio influenced many Americans during this time period, as millions would tune in and listen to President Roosevelt's famous fireside chats, and learn about the news in an exciting way. 16 million Americans served in World War II, the majority being members from the greatest generation. 38.8% were volunteers, 61.2% were draftees, and would serve the average length of 33 months. There were approximately 671,000 casualties in the United States. As of 2023, almost 120,000 of the Americans who served in this war are still alive today. Wow. The silent generation. The silent generation grew up with their parents both witnessing the fall of Nazism and the rise of their new enemy in the era, communism. When the children of this era began coming of age after World War II, they were faced with a devastated social order following World War II, as the Soviet Union betrayed America's post-war agreements and the global powers would face off for the next 50 years. Unlike the previous generations who had fought for changing the system, the silent generation was about working within the system, keeping their heads down and working hard. They were heavily influenced by the golden age of radio, the rise of trade unions, the development of transatlantic flight, and the discovery of penicillin during their formative years. Silents tended to marry and have children young, and their attitude of taking no chances would become criticized by future, more radical generations, such as baby boomers. Finally we talk about the boomers. Possibly the most famous modern birth generation and one of the most active time periods in American history.
Bro, I remember, bro, it was probably about like, maybe when I was in like 10th or 11th grade, bro. Or maybe a little bit. No. It wasn't that, or was it the pandemic? I don't even remember. One of those. Bro, this word, you couldn't even go on social media, bro, without seeing this. Look at this. The boomers caused this. The boomers did this. The boomers did that. Bruh. And come to find out, the boomer generation, most, like, it represents 1946 to 1964. I thought they were trying to talk about, like, 90s babies or something like that this entire time.
The boomers of the 40s, 50s, and 60s were known for their ridiculously high birth rates. With 76 million births taking place during this time period, this was due to a strong post-war economy in which Americans felt confident they would be able to support a large number of children. Boomers influenced the economy as a core marketing demographic for products tied to their age group, from toys to records. On top of this, many items previously deemed luxurious, such as laundry machines, the dishwasher, the refrigerator, items previously...
No way a laundry machine looked like that back in the day. That is hilarious.
Deemed luxurious, such as laundry machines, the dishwasher, the refrigerator,
and
the telephone, entered mass production for the average consumer, and the average American could live like the upper class from the previous generation. Technological advances made before, during, and after the war, such as plastics, television, magnetic tape, transistors, integrated circuits, and lasers, played a key role in the tremendous improvements in the typical standard of living. With this extended period of optimism came a cultural rush, especially in the music industry, where the Beatles, Bob Dylan, the Rolling Stones, and many other artists and bands all became extremely popular. Not everything was sunshine and rainbows, of course, as it was a time period where major political discussion around topics like the sexual revolution, civil rights, nuclear weaponry, ethnocultural diversity, and environmental protection all became popular and heavily debated. This was because this generation was a lot more radical. Many people during this time had different perspectives, and a lot of them favored more left-leaning social causes in almost every direction, strongly opposing existing conservative traditionalist thinking that plenty of others still have.
Yo, they had the flight burger back in the day.
Direction. Strongly opposing existing conservative traditionalist thinking that plenty of others still had. Many of these major political disagreements resulted in protests that were becoming increasingly violent, especially as the Vietnam War lingered on and on. The United States would slowly become more divided, and government distrust would rise in the following generations. Generation X. This generation is often called the latchkey generation, which stems from the children of this generation returning from school to an empty home and needing to use a door key to let themselves in, as a result of living in an era of a lot of free-range parenting, increasing divorce rates, increased maternal participation in the workforce, and widespread availability of childcare options outside the home. Young adults of this time period were dubbed the MTV generation, sometimes characterized as slackers, cynical, and disaffected. The baby boom era of the last generation was met with declining birth rates during this generation, partially due to the birth control bill being introduced in 1960 and abortion being legalized in 1973. However, demographic changes brought by the 1965 Immigration Act partially offset the declining birth rates from Americans already living there, and contributed to making Gen X in America more culturally and ethnically diverse than America had ever been. Gen X music saw many alternative rock, hip-hop, punk, post-punk, and heavy metal bands rise in popularity. Technological innovation boomed during this time period, with the rise of home computing from manufacturers like Apple, Commodore, and Atari taking to the scene with their offerings. Video games became a booming industry during the 1970s and 1980s, with arcades becoming widely successful across the country, and Nintendo and Atari introducing home consoles. Compared to boomers, Gen Xers were far more educated as enrollment in college was way more popular. Individualism and entrepreneurialism became one of the most defining traits with Gen X, as the collective generation would go on to produce Google, Wikipedia, Amazon, and YouTube towards the 90s and early 2000s.
Wow.
Generation Y. Millennials. Millennials were the first generation.
Oh, part of millennials. Yo, 90s babies are all millennials, or only up to 96? Wow.
Internet, mobile technology, and social media. They are commonly
described.
Bro,
I don't care what nobody says. This is the best generation, bro. And hear me out right now, bro. I don't care how nobody says, bro. Bro, this generation is the best, bro, because this is why all the technology, this is why all the social media is invented, this is why all the new foods are invented, this is why all the new cars are invented, this is why all the new building structures are invented, bro. This is probably the best time period from the 80s and 90s babies. I feel like are probably the most important generation like of yet to date. There's no argument whatsoever. We literally are the definition of walking, jogging, and running. You know what I'm saying? For like all the like 2000 and up, especially, you know what I'm saying? Coming into play, bro. Without like any of this, dog, like, bro, half of the stuff wouldn't even be invented, bro. Generation is literally the number one generation. Why or just the millennials? I don't even know. Bro, but either way, this is literally the best like time frame and everything like that. I even probably pushed up to like 99. I say from 1980 to 99 has to be like the best years. Has to be, bro. Everything that is key to life right now and that is so useful was invented, or people thought about it and everything during this time period. And that's facts.
First global generation, being connected to the entire world. However,
the blueprint is what I was looking for, literally.
Also described as the unluckiest generation, due to their average and slower economic growth since entering the workforce than any other generation in history, as well as them being weighed down by student debt and child care costs. Millennials were born at the time of declining fertility rates around the world, and are having fewer children than their predecessors. Young people of the 2010s were often criticized for having less sexual intercourse compared to their predecessors when they were the same age. In 2010, the unemployment rate in the United States reached a record low at 19%.
I remember when this happened, bro. That shit, bro, that was crazy as heck, dog. Like, bro, it was seen about just everybody that was like even close. Like, even like same with my dad. He like got laid off and everything during this time period. The housing market, I believe, like had crashed during this time. So like it was harder for anybody if they wanted a house to get a house. The cost of living skyrocketed and everything. It was kind of like the bronze edition of the Great Depression and everything like that. And then some people are actually rumoring that what do they call it? Inflation or something like that, or there's another word, bruh. Like, why all these damn vocab words disappear when the video get fired up, bruh? It's a recession, or is that right? I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, they're saying that there's potentially another repeat of like 2010 era with everything coming back into play Now,
These
what do y'all think
economic
about that?
difficulties have led to a dramatic increase in youth poverty, unemployment, and a large number of them living with their parents. Millennials are also less likely to be religious than their predecessors, though many identify as spiritual. Millennials experienced 9/11, which changed American culture and began the war on terrorism. That's not to say it's all bad for them, however, as they are often characterized for their digital fluency, diverse perspectives, and a strong sense of social consciousness, due to them being born in a time period where global news and information can be retrieved in seconds. Millennials are very active socially and politically, and not afraid to use their voice. And despite the previously mentioned economic troubles they face, more than 8 in 10 feel confident in their finances, which is representative of their generally positive outlook in a more complicated world. Generation Z, Zoomers. Zoomers are not that much different from
Gen Z! Hey man, we gotta hear about this, Doug.
Are some key differences. While millennials were exposed to the internet and smartphones during their formative years and witnessed the entire world change, being forced to adapt to it too quickly, Zoomers were born into it. People born during this time period have grown up with the rise of social justice movements, a vicious new form of American politics with the rise of Donald Trump, the Black Lives Matter protests, a new pandemic, and lockdowns that prevented most of them from experiencing a large part of their high school or college lives.
Yeah, that's one thing I do feel bad though for certain Gen Z people, especially during the pandemic time, bro. Like, bro, that like I absolutely like am super sorry, dog. Like, if y'all didn't experience your own prom or your own homecoming or just the last experience of like your senior year, whether if you was in like high school or college and everything like that, you literally got 2 years taken away from you that never happened in the past before. Like, literally never happened in the past before. I mean, for granted, maybe like in the 60s or something, and 40s and 50s or whatever and below, you know what I'm saying? They probably had like the wars and stuff going on, and if people were in school, if school was even invented during that time, they got it taken away and stuff like that. But bro, that is a crazy historical like landmark, bro. Like 2020, bro, and maybe to the end of 21 a little bit or whatever like that. Like, that's going to be in literal history books, bro. That's seriously going to be in the history books, bro. Like, that is literally never happened. Like, people got their lives changed and everything during that, like, time period and stuff.
On top of that, there's an ever-growing attention and dopamine economy with apps like YouTube and more recently TikTok transforming not just how information is consumed, but their algorithms also transforming what information is sent out to the public. Even something as simple and stupid as memes, which were started by millennials as jokes, have become tools to spread and popularize ideas. Individualism defines the Zoomer spirit, as they have once again returned to the entrepreneurial spirit of Gen X because of the internet. And freelancing and gig economy work is transforming how jobs are run, while the pandemic transformed where jobs are run, at home rather than in office. Social media trends influence culture in a much different way than before, because individuals are now just as capable of getting attention as traditional media and the financially backed entertainment industry, leading to jobs like social media content creation and influencers being the most wanted job, above traditional work. Zoomers also grew up with SpongeBob, which defined culture more than really anything else in the last century. Generation Alpha. Not much is known about what will happen
to Yo, nah, bro. If you was born during this time, I ain't gonna lie to you, I feel bad. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, blessings and so many more and everything, and a healthy life, and best of wishes to all your success and everything, bro. But, bro, if you born in 2013, dog, no bullshit. You should not be talking nothing about you shouldn't be talking crap about nobody. You shouldn't be, like, nothing, bro. You missed out on the early 2000s. I understand you missed out on the 90s, because even, like, kind of for me, like, to be honest, like, I didn't miss out on the 90s. Obviously, I was born, but, like, bro, niggas was 3 and 4 years old, not even able to sing their ABCs. So you can't even really count on up the 90s. But, bro, you missed the early 2000s, bro. You missed the early 2000s, bro. You didn't even experience, bro, like, literally, bro, if you didn't experience, like, the Tall T era, bro, and the Echo Unlimited, and the Gerard jeans, dog, or just not even that, bro, just the OG cartoons, bro. Like, the cartoons that they have now, like, bro, I really feel bad even for my kids. They're going to be put onto all the OG cartoons. Don't even get it fucked up now. Don't even get messed up now. You know what I'm saying? But the point is, like, y'all missed out on, like, the good stuff. And, like, it's crazy because, like, even, I say, like, maybe 2008 was, like, the end of, like, that golden era. So they don't even get, like, the crumbs of the golden era, bro. 2013 and below, bro, they born into, like, the Fortnite, you know what I'm saying, the TikTok era. Bro, this is not, you know what? I wouldn't even call it the Generation Alpha. I'd call this literally the Generation iPad era. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, literally, you know what I'm saying? These are, like, all the, like, iPad kids. These are probably, like, all the kids that be saying, like, Or what I think about that? Be saying like all the weird ass comments they be saying, oh, I'm edging to this and that. Like definitely this era generation right here. But bro, missing out on the early 2000s is crazy. That is crazy as hell, dog. Nah, that's a laughing
Who is
stock.
currently being raised mostly by millennials, as it's hard to predict what the future will bring. Described by some as the pandemic
I will say,
mostly by millennials, as it's
I wouldn't be surprised though if this generation does invent like the flying cars in these types of buildings. It's gonna be looking scary to see buildings like that, bro.
To predict what the future will bring. Described by some
hiccups,
as the pandemic generation, they experienced everything about the pandemic as young children and are growing up in a world dominated by changes in their education and entertainment due to technology. Many talk about the pandemic of iPad kids, as this generation
I just was saying that
spends less time with their parents on average than previous generations, instead living independently and self-directed, growing up with the now 20-year-old version of the internet. Many will experience young adulthood in the 2030s and are expected by the United Nations to have an average lifespan of 83 years across the world. Problems that they are predicted to face are mental health issues, misinformation, and polarization, but it's hard to tell what the future will bring for them.
Wow, man. Hey, this is a very great informative video, man. Comment down below what generation are you born in and what generation do you think is the best. And don't take anything seriously that I was joking about in this video. Bro, are you serious, bro? I know my webcam wasn't doing that all video, bro. Don't take anything serious, bro. Whether you were born in Gen Z through M, bro, it's a blessing to be here on earth. You know what I'm saying? Make the use of your time. You know what I'm saying? You be the change in society, man, that people can reflect on when it comes down to history.